Hello, and welcome to another video. And in this video, I am looking at the different types of watercolor paper. These are all from the same brand, Eraldo di Paolo, which is an Australian brand available at Riot Arts and Crafts. It's probably available elsewhere, but that's where I got this. And it has the three different types of paper. So you've got your cold press, hot press, and rough, all in this one booklet. So I imagine their manufacturing is quite the same. So they're a great set to compare. Um, I am using the Sakura Petite colors, which are known as Sakura Koi outside of Japan, which these I brought in Japan. So it comes in this very user friendly travel set with a brush of its own. And I'm also using my old faithful Jasarts Byron watercolors, as they're both cheap sets and they're worth comparing. Um, and I've been using the Jasarts Byron watercolors for quite some time. They are not the best brushes, um, best paints, sorry, but they have worked very well for me. I'm using a few different brushes. I've got a water brush, a brush that I brought through a company called Shimmer Drops that do lovely paints, and the brush that comes with the Sakura Deep Colors sets. Now, for this set, for this comparison, I am painting horses. Uh, Please forgive anatomy issues. Horses are a difficult animal to sketch, but I've been inspired by the Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year, and the Year of the Horse, which is the element of fire. And so I sort of wanted to mess around and have some fun with that. But I am no expert in traditions of these cultures, but I have linked a few videos from different creators below explaining the traditions and the symbolisms. Um, Now I am here on the cold press paper, which is what I am most familiar with. I pretty much exclusively have used uh, cold press watercolor paper for any watercolor artworks I've had. So I'm very familiar with this paper, which is why I started with this one, sort of start somewhere where I feel good with. Um, and I'm sort of messing around with paints from both sets. Um, so I have, the Sakura Color Products Corporation was founded in 1921 by two teachers to allow children to have better access to creating art. Uh, and this product, the Sakura Koi or Sakura Petite Colors, is really, really lovely. It's not light fast, but neither is the Byron watercolor, but the pigment is a lot richer. And I definitely think it's going to be replacing my Byron watercolor set. Um, though there are a few colors in the Byron set that I really, really love. And of course, Jasarts is an Australian brand that I have easy access to and I have a great appreciation of. I love their color pencils and their watercolor pencils. Their acrylic paints are very cheap in my eyes and I don't use them. But I've really enjoyed using their watercolors and have traveled with these sets and I'm really grateful for all of the paintings that I've done with these paints. Now I have the Australian landscape set, which has 7 unique colours and 3 which I really love. They're gamboge, purple, and olive green. Now I do not use olive green in any of these. I didn't use any green at all, really. They have the ocean set, which I use a bit of here. It has 5 unique colours, and 2 of which I love, the deep purple and the viridian. And the pastel set has 10 unique colours, so many of which I love, but it does have my favourite of all the colours in any of the sets, which is light ultramarine. And some of the double up colours that I love are ultramarine, dark green, yellow ochre, and Payne's grey, um, which I use sparingly here. They're not dark green, and I don't think I used Payne's grey. Um, where the Sakura Koi, Sakura Petite colours has Chinese white, lemon yellow, permanent yellow deep, vermilion hue, crimson lake, Prussian blue, cobalt blue hue, viridian hue, permanent green pale, yellow ochre, light red, and ivory black. In these paintings, I used the colours from lemon yellow to cobalt blue. And I really, really love these colours. They are so much richer in their pigment, um, which makes them really, really lovely to use. You can use less of them to get the same sort of effect. They seem to spread nicer. Um, they're they're absolutely beautiful. It's not professional grade, but it feels so much nicer than what I have been using. Um, However, I do will always have a soft spot, I think, for the Jasarts Byron sets, and of all the colors, like I said, light ultramarine is still my favorite. I know mixing your own colors is best practice in watercolors, but gosh, I love a convenience color. I mean, convenience colors are just so easy. Now, this paper here is the hot press paper, and I've not really used hot press before. Um, I was really hesitant to use hot press because of what I've read and heard from others, which it definitely works for some people, but for the art I usually do, which is landscapes, um, I just didn't see it as working. But here, obviously, I'm doing an animal, and I really really enjoyed it. So I definitely should have tried hot press sooner. Um, it's very illustrative, and I can't wait to do something else on hot press paper. Um, it's definitely pushing me out of my comfort zone, away from um, landscapes, which I think I do a lot of because they feel easy, and there's less rigidity in a landscape compared to, say, a horse, which I can definitely tell here. The legs are a little wonky. It is what it is, but I actually am really quite happy with it. Um, so I definitely shouldn't have taken, what other people said about it, um, so strongly. Like I definitely overemphasized other people's opinions, and I mean sometimes that's good. Um, but sometimes that is detrimental to your own progress as an artist. And I I'm so glad that I gave this a full shot. I think hot press paper has skyrocketed to one of my favorite things to work on, and so I'm definitely going to be playing around with hot press a hell of a lot more. So that is very exciting. Now, if I planned this better, because a lot of this, the colorations and whatnot, were sort of just like spur of the moment sort of ideas. I definitely would have left more space around the nostrils for the flame, but that was an idea that kind of struck me as I was doing it. So it was very much a you know, come as you are kind of thing. Um, Now this is the rough paper, and rough paper is very interesting. I had a thought in my mind that it'd be a lot like the cold press paper. Um, Now I've never used rough paper before. It is less frequent to come across. When you go into art shops and whatnot, I find cold press is everywhere, and there's a fair bit of hot press too, but not as much. But then you go on to um, looking for rough, and there's significantly less around. I don't know why I had in my mind that it was going to be quite similar to cold press, which in a way it is like how the paint distributes, where it's a doesn't spread as much on hot press paper, and it spreads a bit on cold press paper, and then it spreads a lot on rough. But it's also got a lot of unique properties that I hadn't really considered. It is not my favorite to work with, or not my favorite here. I definitely think it has its place. I reckon doing a landscape on this kind of paper would be very unique and fun to mess around with, but not best for something more figure heavy like a horse. Um, but I do like how it gives this kind of like dreamy effect, and I do think it kind of works for the idea of something on fire, which is what I've tried to capture with all of these horses to a degree. So they definitely have the very hot tones on the um, cold press paper, and then the sort of like extremely hot blue flame. Trying to capture that in the hot press paper. Did I say hot press paper before? No, so the warms were on the cold press paper. Um, it's like a very, warm fire with the reds and the yellows and the oranges and pink and a little bit of purple. Whereas the hot press paper was the very, very striking, like ice blue center for that hot, hot, hot flame. And then tried to mix that together a bit on the rough paper. Um, but I do like how it looks. The whole horse looks flamey instead of just the mane. Um, and I almost want to try something uh, on the rough paper, like a old movie fantasy vibe. I don't know how it will work out, but like the fuzziness. So I've just gone about and said that I think landscapes would be better on rough paper. What if I try to do a medieval princess on it? Which seems to go very against what I just said. But this is what all of this is about. It's just experimentation. Um, as I grow as an artist, just like keep experimenting, keep finding what works for me, keep finding what I enjoy, keep playing with things, keep growing as an artist, um, and trying out, different mediums, different papers, which I'm so glad I did. I got was so rigidly stuck to cold press paper. I've missed out on really enjoying hot press paper for so long. And I have all these like experimental ideas for rough paper. Um, so I really need to give more things a go. I do find this horse particularly interesting that I decided to give it like a fire mohawk. That just sort of kept growing and growing on me. That was not intentional. But as I added more and more color, it just got bigger and bigger, very much like a I don't know, 80s hairstyle on a horse, which, that could make for a fun character in a animated movie. Um, no, this project was a lot of fun. I'm really glad I tried out all these different papers. I'm really glad I spent a lot of time testing out these new watercolors I have compared to watercolors that I've used a lot. Using something in isolation can trick the mind into how it feels, but using it as like a direct comparison has really helped settle that, yes, um, these Sakura Petite colors are significantly better and easier to work with than the Jazz Art Byron colors. So I will be using them more. I'll be adding them. I'll probably be using them as my travel set compared to the others. But I do have a soft spot for the Jazz Art Byron watercolors, because of the time I've spent with them and my absolute love of the light ultramarine color. Um, no, this was a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend exploring. and experimenting if you're not doing so already. Um, and I do, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with how the horses turned out. Um, I keep looking at the legs of the blue horse and thinking, you happy with that? um, but horses are not my strong suit, so I think I did a pretty good job at capturing a difficult animal, and using these different papers to do a really, really good, fun design. Um, so, yeah, if you're not doing so already, experiment more. Um, Happy New Year to those who celebrate. Happy New Year to those who don't as well. We can always use some more happiness in our lives. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I did have a little bit of a pause between this one and the last one, but I have a few other videos filmed and upcoming. So if you're interested in that, you can subscribe. No pressure. We're just here to have a bit of fun, and I'm just going to keep experimenting. Anyway, thank you for watching. Um, I hope I see you in the next one, and that's all. Bye.